Yes, we made it. Hey, everybody. Welcome. I can tell I'm going to run a poll and ask people what they prefer because I noticed there were less people here. The title for today's show is much more straightforward than some of the titles you have been seeing. So we are going to talk about the Twitter files, about Jim Baker, and about Yoel Roth. There you go. So you are going to get exactly what it says, unlike what I did other times. But I do have to ask people whether they prefer clickbait titles, because sometimes we do those too, and then more people tune in. That's just messed up, actually. We live in a world that's just not perfect, you know? It's just not. People like things that they shouldn't like. People click on things that they shouldn't click on because of problems with the way our brains are designed. Our brains are designed in such a way that they can be hacked. Like that guy says from the WEF. It's true. We are hackable through, there are ways to design titles and thumbnails that will make your brain more likely to click on them. And one day, really soon, I'm just waiting, there's going to be AI that will help generate the best title and thumbnail for each YouTube video. And then I won't have to think about it every day. So we're getting there. I had a warning to people to make sure to develop skills that will not be able to be replaced by AI within the next 5 years or so. Because pretty much almost everything that we do is probably going to be replaced by AI. So I've been talking to the new Chat GPT. It's pretty smart. I mean, the thing is, if you were a student in school, it could write your book report. And there's no way that any teacher would ever know about it. You could ask it to write a college essay, and it would do a pretty good job, So I'm just thinking about other things, and pretty soon it's just going to do everything. Driving cars, I mean, that's one thing. So be aware of that. You might be replaced. Like computer programmers are probably going to be replaced because of this new AI. So if you want to, I'll do a show about it. I was thinking about having a guest on to discuss the advances in the new Chat GPT. So I'll let you guys know. We might talk about it. Yeah, I've been speaking with it. It's very interesting. What's interesting is it tells you different things, different times. Like I got the old chatbot to say, and I made a video about it. Oh, am I clicking, by the way? Let me know if I have any clicking. I made the other AI, the last generation, say that Sandy Hook might not be like the official story. It said that. It was like it might have been not the official story, which is, you can get sued for saying that. But I did get it to say that. Now the new version is updated, so it won't ever say that. And I only got it to say it one time in one conversation. And then it said something different the next time. And when I ask it, I've been asking it about Holocaust deniers because I've been looking into that subject. And sometimes it gives me a different answer every single time. It's really weird. Like one time it was really woke. It wouldn't tell me the names of any. And then one time it just told me the next time I asked. So it's really weird the way it works. So you guys should play around with it. You can, as long as it's free, because it won't be free forever. It's very, very powerful technology. Like people really have no idea, actually. You know that guy, Lex Friedman? his show, as far as I'm pretty sure his show originally was called the AI podcast or something like that. Like originally he was just talking about AI, but people who are into AI are into human behavior and the way the brain works. So people who are into AI have basically become like psychologists and stuff. So they are interesting. They are interesting people. And that guy, Lex Friedman, people are giving him a hard time. Lex, because he gave Ye such a hard time. But some people are mainstream, you know? Some people are mainstream, and that's just the way they are. And I try my best not to hold that against them. You know, I try to be loving of everyone while being very critical at times. But some people, that's just the way they think. They think in a mainstream way. Lex Friedman thinks in kind of a mainstream way. But if he didn't, then he wouldn't be able to book all those guests he has on. I don't know. Did he finally get on Dr. Fauci? But then he doesn't necessarily ask the tough questions at the right times. But what can you do? Like, this is the world we live in. It's fucked up. It doesn't work right. It doesn't work the way it's supposed to. People click on clickbait and then they don't care. People come up with thoughtful things that are really interesting that nobody notices. Some people deserve their success. Some people don't deserve their success. It's just messed up like that. So anyway, thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me. This is an experimental podcast. It's something like performance art, but with real news. So I appreciate you tuning in for it. Thanks for finding this amongst the sea of everything else in this universe. I appreciate the time that we spend together. I'm trying to do it every day at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. T4T says Lex Friedman is a joke. Yeah, I mean, that's the simple answer for sure. The simple thing is to criticize people who are famous or popular. So, Lex Friedman, yeah, it's easy to criticize him. There are things to criticize him over, for sure. But that's him. That's the way he is. So, what are you got to do? It's like criticizing a rock for being hard, you know? Just that's Lex. It's like criticizing Tim Pool for losing Ye off of his show. It wasn't Tim Pool's fault. I mean, he was being Tim Pool. What are you gonna do? That's Tim. Yeah, it was over from before the time it even started. So yeah, I'd be critical, but then again, he's him. So people are the way they are. I learned to accept that. Some people, like Hitler, most people don't say it out loud. Some people do, though. Like more people do than normal people think. All right. Like people who aren't aware. There are, and some people, like people say about Patriot Front, that they're all feds, but they're not feds. So the simple response when you see Patriot Front or the January 6th thing, for that matter, is to say it's all feds. But it's not all feds. Patriot Front, they're real, genuine, like nerdy neo-Nazis that like dressing up in uniforms and stuff. It's a real belief system. People really believe it. Most people don't say it out loud who believe it. And then it's something when you learn something that you can't say out loud. It is something to learn things and to know things that you can't say out loud or in public or to anybody. because of what might happen to you. There are some thoughts, like opinions you can have that get you incarcerated. And not in this country, fortunately. Like in America, you can think things like you can be racist and stuff. They can't put you in jail. You can be anti Semitic. They can't put you in jail for it. So you can and people want you to think that that's not the case. They want you to think that somehow speech is more illegal than it really is. But no, you can be hateful. From what I understand, you can even incite violence. I was listening to Viva Frey and Barnes, and I think you can even incite violence as long as it's not imminent. So that's new to me. I thought inciting violence in and of itself was wrong. But no, it has to be imminent threat, like serious. That's what speech is really about. So, yeah, I've been thinking about that. It is something to realize. And I made a video about that one YouTuber. This one YouTuber, he learned about something and he was like, "Oh, I can't make videos anymore." And I could sympathize with him because, what do you do when you have thoughts that are no longer acceptable? Like, what do people do if they don't believe the official story of SH? The things Alex Jones got sued for $1 billion for now. What if you don't believe the official story? And like someone I interviewed, actually, I did an interview with 2 people from Newtown, and one of them was real suspicious of the official story. She didn't say that nobody died. She said it was like a ritual sacrifice, basically. And I did the interview with her on Rockfin. Okay. Like yeah, and then I got scared right away. I was like, "Oh my God, I can't put this out." So I put it behind a paywall. But it's available. You guys could listen to it. It's on Rockfin and on Substack. I think it might be just for paid subscribers because I didn't want the information to get out. I was like, "Oh no, I don't want this could be bad." Because, what happened to AJ? But I defended AJ. Actually, Rick, right up until the court case, I was still incredibly skeptical of much of the narrative there with that story. But seeing the court case was very helpful for seeing the people get interviewed and stuff. I can't say everything I'd like to say. I mean, I can't say everything I'd like to say about it. But the court case still made me think, could be something like Adam Lanza did exist. I used to think he didn't exist. We found out he did. And the school was really open and stuff. I found out a bunch of things about it. I did a bunch of research because I wanted to know. And I am open to new facts. So I'm willing to change my mind about things. So I don't really know what happened, but I know what I can't say. And if I didn't think it happened and I wanted to make videos about it, actually, as a matter of fact, there's still stuff that's super, super interesting about it where you're like, but I can't show it. I definitely wouldn't be able to present it. Even to say, "Oh, this is what conspiracy theorists were thinking," right? Probably couldn't do it. Probably couldn't get away with it, which is a shame because I'd like to do that. I'd like to say, "Oh, this is what people were thinking." Like, I know it's real, but people said it wasn't real, and this is why. Or these are the reasons people say there were no planes on 9/11, for example. Something I got a strike for making a video about. It's not cool that you can't even discuss conspiracy theories. You should be able to. Even by the rules, they kind of say, oh, no, you can talk about them as long as you say they're not true. So as long as I say there absolutely were, planes and 19 hijackers on 9/11, then that's okay. I can discuss the fact that some people say, like Jim Fetzer says it was holograms. I don't think there were holograms. Oh, and then that one lady says it was directed energy weapons. And I don't know about that. I mean, there were, you guys know about on 9/11, there were like cars melted really far away. Did you know about that? That was really interesting to me. And then the way some of the steel turns to dust. What was her name? The doctor. She said, Jill, what was her name? Wood. J, something with a J and a Wood. She talked about dustification, which was really interesting. You saw that video. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. You can support this kind of broadcast by going to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil and leaving a coffee and a note, and I'll read it on the show. And then they don't take 30%. So that's the way to support the show. Otherwise, you can also buy our t-shirts and hoodies at truthclothing.io. I'm supposed to wear one of the shirts that you guys are supposed to buy. So actually, I'll hold on. Let me show you. I got to make sure I'm doing it. My wife designed the t-shirts, and then she's like, "Oh, you have to wear these shirts." And I was like, "Yeah, but people don't care about crypto right now." I have some crypto shirts. The one I'm wearing is pretty cool. But people aren't into crypto, are they? That's what I was telling her. I was like, people aren't really into crypto right now. So maybe I will go with my propaganda shirt, which people always relate to. But here I am. I have to present it. She's like my advertising handler. She's like, you got to wear the shirt so people can see it. This one says Crypto Future. I have to hide this. This one says Crypto Future, which is happening in the future. But the other problem is it might crash first. That's the other problem with the crypto stuff. But I have some great crypto shirts. If you want a deal on like a box of them, hit me up. And people can reach me, by the way, on Twitter. I have open DMs on Twitter. So as long as I'm still not too famous, you can reach out to me there. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. Like if you want a box of cryptocurrency stuff from when I was running a cryptocurrency channel, I ordered a bunch of stuff, but then I stopped talking about crypto, but I still think it's good, but it might crash first. So I sold a bunch. There might be a big crash coming, financially speaking, like real estate. From what I understand, it's really crashing. My wife gives me a hard time because we don't own a house, because I was always like, oh, real estate's going to crash. She's like, we could have had a house and it would have gone up. But like, yeah, but it's going to crash. And it is going to crash. So that's going to happen. The stock market is probably going to crash. We're probably going to have people are talking about a financial crisis. There's this story that came out about $80 trillion in FX swaps. So anyway, as far as cryptocurrency, yeah, check out our shirts though. We have cool stuff. I'll show you. We do need your support for this show to continue. So either with buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil or with a t-shirt, you are fighting the globalists. I got to get something. Vitamins are good because people always need to reorder them. T-shirts, though, you need clothing. And so anyway, I'm supposed to show you the crypto shop because we have those. Bitcoin saves. That's cool. Bitcoin, HODL, Litecoin. Litecoin's doing good now. So anyway, check it out. Truthclothing.io. That's our website. And what did I hear was a scam recently? I heard that somebody was saying that what do they call it? Where you buy a site in Scotland? Something not domains. I'm thinking like Unstoppable Domains, which is a crypto thing. But it's something titles. Is it called something titles? Where you buy land in Scotland? I heard it's like a scam. Somebody said. I know they were pushing that on Daily Wire and stuff. I saw Matt Walsh advertising for that. Yeah, this is such a sketchy business because people push. You got to be cautious, I would say, about everything that people advertise, because it turns out like a lot of it, when they can pay you well, the stuff that pays the best is the most likely to be a scam. So like VPNs, from what I hear, these VPN things, you see a lot of YouTubers push VPNs. I think they're a scam. Like, I think they take your information in addition to providing the VPN services. Like, I'm not sure they're really secure, but I don't know for sure. But I know they do compensate like better than they should, running ads for that stuff. So you hear like Peter Schiff runs an ad for VPN. I don't know, man. I don't trust that stuff because somebody still gets your information on a VPN. It's hidden from some people, but somebody else gets it instead. And then who knows how secure they are. So anyway, yeah, it's a difficult business. But we have t-shirts and we have Buy Me a Coffee. And we have listeners that appreciate a diverse and not neurotypical TV show. All right. What was I gonna? I was gonna play you something that had to do with what I was saying. What was that? Well, I have the Twitter files we're waiting on right now. We're waiting on the latest update on it. The news that came out yesterday was that Jim Baker was the guy in charge of sending out the leaks to Matt Taibbi and Barry Weiss. Oh, I know what I was going to play you. I was going to play you Matt Walsh saying that Kanye is crazy, but for some reason, I don't even have that up. I don't even have that up. I had Matt Walsh saying Kanye is crazy. I was going to ask you guys what you think about that. But Elon said the stuff is supposed to be coming out. We're waiting on it anytime. So I have people telling me to let me know when the files are released because I'll try to go live and cover it. Twitter files is still trending. The mainstream media totally dismissed the Twitter files and said they didn't reveal anything. And they attacked Matt Taibbi. So Glenn Greenwald is talking about how they attacked Matt Taibbi. And he talks about the list of people that go after their hate vectors, he calls them. Glenn Greenwald's doing a thing where he's pretending to be an online safety expert, just like all these guys do. Like, you say, oh, I'm an online safety expert. Like, I'm an expert too. Like, I'm a misinformation expert, actually. So it's funny. Glenn Greenwald said he's an online safety expert and he's watching out for Matt Taibbi because of all the hatred. And he calls these hate vectors Ben Collins, Brandy Zadrozny, Taylor Lorenz, Justin Baragona, who I'm not as familiar with, but now I need to learn about, of the Daily Beast and several New York Times tech reporters. So I need to learn everybody on the list, but I already had a list. I do have a list of adversaries in the news business. So, but I don't want to target them for harassment, you know, 'cause they'll always cry about it. But since I'm not famous, I can say it. Ben Collins, Brandy Zadrozny, Taylor Lorenz, Will Sommer of the Daily Beast tabloid also should be on that list, but he hasn't been tweeting much lately, Will Sommer. But he's one of those disinformation experts. He covered a lot of stuff about Seth Rich. Oh, and that's a whole other story. Anna Merlan, if you haven't heard of her, Anna Merlan wrote about me in a book. Who does she work for now? Anna Merlan is a funny one of these people, but they are like, if I did have a nemesis, it would be those people, it would be people like that. It would be people like Ben Collins. Ben Collins, he wrote about me in an article. And then Will Sommer wrote about stuff I was doing. They've written about me before. And Media Matters, too. They mentioned Media Matters. Media Matters wrote about me before. When I had on about the donut shop. You guys know about the donut shop? Yep, that's history, I guess. Voodoo Donuts. Yeah, that's when they wrote about me, Media Matters and stuff. Ben Collins wrote about me when I made a video about Tom Hanks. Yeah, I've talked about all the subjects. Now it's like totally uncontroversial, though. So that was Glenn Greenwald's diagram of hate vectors, he calls them, because they're attacking Matt Taibbi. I mean, the funny thing is the reason it's funny is that people are saying like Jim Baker is being targeted. That's why it's funny. Okay. Is people are saying Jim Baker is being targeted like he's a private citizen or something that can't be criticized. They're saying Jim Baker is being targeted. And this is what, here, I'll show you. See, Glenn Greenwald has this tweet from Eli Lake where it says, according to the latest studies in disinformation and stochastic terrorism, former senior FBI officials are one of the most vulnerable communities online. Former FBI officials are one of the most vulnerable communities online. So yeah, this guy, Jim Baker, was super involved in Russiagate. So he was one of the guys that spread the Russiagate story, and he worked really closely with Jim Comey, and he got fired at the same time as Lisa Page, who was a disgraced activist within the Bureau. So that guy was responsible for vetting the Twitter files. I'll show you a little bit more about Jim Baker. Here. That guy was responsible for vetting the Twitter files that were released so far through Matt Taibbi, with the next drop supposedly coming from Bari Weiss. Bari Weiss, who's kind of, well, she's got issue, but she's cool. I still follow her on Substack. I follow both of them on Substack, Matt Taibbi and Bari Weiss. Bari Weiss had that moment on Rogan where he asked her what a toady was, and she didn't know because she was talking about, because she's a big fan of Israeli foreign policy, basically, because she doesn't know any better, I guess. But she's the one supposedly coming out with the next drop is Bari Weiss. What else is she known for? She worked at the New York Times before, and they considered her too conservative or something. She's spoken, I think, about some transgender issues and some other issues. She's kind of like mainstream to the right, kind of. Sort of. All right. Let me see what else I have for you guys in the news. And then I'll check my super chats. You guys know the Trump organization. Oh, I have what the press secretary said about the Twitter files, like that they're a nothing burger. And that's what the media said too. The media said that it was all hype and that it was all about dick pics, basically. They totally misrepresented what was released. So here's Jean-Pierre talking about it. Play this. Let's see if I get my audio right. Oh, I didn't play the intro for my show. You guys missing the intro? I could play it. I'll play this clip. This is how the White House responded to the leak of the Twitter files.
Because you guys said you're keeping a close eye on Elon Musk's ownership, and it's the first time we've talked to you since he released the files a few days ago. Is it the White House view that decisions at Twitter were made appropriately in terms of decisions to censor this reporting ahead of the election?
You mischaracterized actually what I actually said and took it out of context when you asked your question. Look, when I answered the question, and I actually already addressed this about how the White House and the administration is seeing what's happening on Twitter. We follow also what's going on, just like you guys are reporting and just like you guys are seeing. And what I was commenting to is like, yes, we're seeing what is happening, just like you all are seeing what's happening with Twitter. So just want to clear that up because you definitely mischaracterized what I said or put it out of context. And so can you ask your question again?
Yes, I mean, my question was that you had said, I think 6 or so days ago, that the White House was watching closely the situation at Twitter after Elon Musk's ownership of it with respect to misinformation. And because these files were released on the basis of, hack materials clause at Twitter, decisions were made to censor reporting leading up to the election. My question was, is it the White House view that these decisions were made appropriately in light of what has come out?
Which decisions? By whom?
By Twitter.
By Twitter okay. So look, we see this as an interesting or a coincidence, if I may, that he would so haphazardly, Twitter would so haphazardly push this distraction. That is a full of old news, if you think about it. And at the same time, Twitter is facing very real and very serious questions about the rising volume of anger, hate, and anti-Semitism on their platform, and how they're letting it happen. And, the president said last week, more leaders need to speak out and reject this. And it's very alarming and very dangerous. But our focus right now is helping the American families. I just talked about what the president is going to be doing in Arizona, talking about the Chips and Science Act, talking about how we're bringing manufacturing jobs back here to the U.S., talking about under this administration, more than 700,000 jobs have been created. In manufacturing jobs, to be more specific. Look, what is happening? It's frankly, it's not healthy. It won't do anything to help a single American improve their lives. And so, look, this isn't. We see this as an interesting, coincidence, and it's a distraction.
And a distraction. There you go.
Karine, just one more on.
There you go. So that's it. That's Karine Jean-Pierre talking about the Twitter files drop, just saying it's a distraction. Old news. Old news. What do you guys think? Okay, so what came out in the Twitter files? It showed that the DNC asked to take down some stuff. They said what they asked to take down was dick pics. Okay, so I haven't been able to verify that 100% exactly because I went and looked. I saw that the DNC asked to take down some tweets, specific tweets, including a tweet from James Woods. But then people said, oh, it was just dick pics. And it was just people trying to remove the nudity, which is fair, actually. Like, it is fair not to post people's nude pictures when there's no news value to it. Although you could argue that there is news value to seeing Hunter getting a foot job, smoking crack. But you could also argue that those are private pictures and it's like revenge porn or whatever. So I get it that they took down the nude pictures, but that's not all that it was about. So they're misrepresenting the whole scenario, acting as if, it was all only about the nude pics. And that's the only reason they censored anything. I mean, they censored the stories, even though the stories weren't about the nude pics. They were about the business deals inside the emails. And then it is troublesome that Jim Baker was the guy supervising it. It's considering that Jim Baker was top FBI lawyer, right? And then there's this other guy, Yoel Roth, who got doxxed in the Twitter files, or, his name came up, Yoel Roth, as being somebody that was into the Twitter safety. That guy is a real piece of work. So I have some video of him. I have some video of Yoel Roth. So let me play that. Here he was at this conference. And I don't know if this is after he got doxxed on Twitter. Not really doxxed, but his name was in the files. And there was some doxing. I think if Matt Taibbi had to do it over again, he'd probably obscure some email addresses, because I think it's fair to say that he did dox some people's personal email addresses, including the one from Twitter from Jack. That was a .pizza. Did you guys see that email address? The Pizzagate people caught onto it pretty quick. But yeah, he did dox a few people. So we'll see if they do it different this next time. We'll see. Like, if I were Barry Weiss, I'd be kind of gun shy, wouldn't you? After seeing what happened to Matt Taibbi and how he just got destroyed. And I don't care who you are. It sucks when everybody's calling you suck up to Elon Musk, when I think he did legitimate reporting. I mean, what do they expect from him? I think he went through the documents on his own. He wasn't interfered with. He had to make a deal to release the news on Twitter, it sounds like. So then people with Matt Taibbi, they tried to say, he had to make some special accommodations, because he mentioned it in the Substack post. He was like, I had to make some special accommodations, which I think was just that he had to release the news on Twitter and not on his Substack, like he would have preferred normally. So, which maybe almost anybody would agree to if those were the terms, right? And Elon Musk says, okay, I'm going to give you access to a bunch of files and you get to write whatever you want about it, but you have to write it on Twitter. Okay. Like, we have to do a thing where we're doing a Twitter thread and we're trying to get people engaged on Twitter. It'll be huge. So that's the deal, though. You get unfettered access to the documents. I won't interfere with you, but you have to release it on Twitter. That seems fair. Would be fair to me. I wouldn't think I was violating any journalistic ethics. Not that I know, but most journalistic ethics, you kind of figure out as you do what they call journalism over time. You learn about the fact checking and the sources and how you should ask people, how you should always talk to people if you're going to make accusations about them. So anyway, here's Yoel Roth talking about how terrible it was for him to be targeted. I believe that's what this clip is. This guy, Yoel Roth, he's a real character, saying, it's so dangerous. People hate to be exposed. And then they'll say, I'm being targeted. They don't even know what it's like to be targeted, like genuinely. They don't even know. But that's the people that are in these jobs and stuff. They think, you can't criticize me. I can call everybody Nazis. But if you say that I'm, that's their attitude. People like Taylor Lorenz. All right, let me play this clip. I'll play it.
But what are you worried about these Twitter files coming out? And what was that experience like having Kellyanne, who's always in control of herself, sicking this MAGA trolls on you?
It's terrifying.
MAGA
I thought I was going to
trolls.
be a college professor for a living. I got a PhD and was doing research that nobody cared about, and then I was like, oh, like this platform thing is cool. Like I can go and do research there, and then one thing led to another, and all of a sudden we apply a misinformation label to Donald Trump's account, and I'm on the cover of the New York Post, and that is a deeply terrifying experience. And I say this from a position of unquestioned privilege as a cis white male. Like the internet is much scarier and much worse for lots of other people who aren't me, but it was pretty fucking scary for a long time.
What was the
as a result
part?
of that? When you get targeted in some of these ways, it's hard to differentiate between what is somebody just online trying to rattle you and what's a real threat. You see in things like Pizzagate that online conspiracies can mobilize very real and very direct offline violence. And I worry about that. I had been doxxed years before by teenagers, actually. They're always behind it. But, I saw those harms, I experienced those harms, and now it was those harms through a mainstream news outlet being held up in the Oval Office by the former president of the United States, and that is deeply terrifying.
He's like, I can't stand that they exposed me. I mean, I don't know. When you're doing stuff, sometimes people criticize you. God knows. So here he is talking about the Babylon Bee and why they got banned, saying that satire is misgendering still, even if it's satire. So somebody said a new Yay just dropped. He's not on Twitter, so I wouldn't be able to see it, but we'll see what he said if that's the case. We're keeping up with Yay news. Here's another clip from this guy, Yoel Roth.
Okay, Babylon Bee, which is what got him to buy the thing, I think.
That's the
one which was not particularly funny. The Babylon Bee's Man of the Year is Rachel Levine. Not funny.
Yeah. And you can
I didn't agree they should have taken that down, but go ahead.
It's interesting. It's interesting to think about what the competing tensions around that are. And I want to start by acknowledging that the targeting and the victimization of the trans community on Twitter is very real, very life-threatening, and extraordinarily serious. We have seen from a number of Twitter accounts, including libs of TikTok notably, that there are orchestrated campaigns that particularly are singling out a group that is already particularly vulnerable within society. And so, yeah, not only is it not funny, but it is dangerous, and it does contribute to an environment that makes people unsafe in the world. So let's start from a premise that it's fucked up. But then, again, let's look at what Twitter's written policies are. Twitter's written policies prohibit misgendering, full stop. And the Babylon Bee, in the name of satire, misgendered Admiral Rachel Levine. Twitter, nominally, but it's still misgendering.
Okay.
And, there can be a very long and academic discussion of satire and sort of the lines there.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Apple tried to tease out this question of satire and political commentary in their own guidelines, which I think are also fraught. But, we landed on the side of enforcing our rules as written.
And that's how it got bought by Elon Musk, just in case you're interested. He was mad about that. I remember that.
Yeah, that's true. That was like the reason that Elon Musk decided to buy Twitter, pretty much. I think if you had to nail it down to one thing, it was, I think, the fact that Babylon Bee got suspended for tweeting that Rachel Levine is Man of the Year. And now, I don't know, they say they have a policy against misgendering, but I don't think that's being enforced anymore, because I've seen people doing some misgendering on Twitter. So I don't know what the rules are exactly on Twitter, except that there are rules against spam and bot-like behavior. But as far as speech, he said there are no rules. And I tested a little bit here and there. Sometimes I write tweets, and many times I delete them. So you might see that if you follow me on Twitter, but go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Lift the Veil 411. I'm Lift the Veil on Twitter. I'm anonymous. Yeah, Dr. Jordan Peterson is having a meltdown over anonymous users on Twitter criticizing him because he had on Net and Yahoo to discuss why Zionism is great and stuff and why Jews are the best. I mean, that was pretty much the way it went. It was like, oh, I mean, I played a clip from it yesterday. He had on Net and Yahoo, and he said, he made this analogy that was so racist against Palestinians, if you thought about it, because, explaining why it's cool for Israelis just to take the land. He's like, oh, nobody's doing anything with it anyway. Like, they're not using it. Like, they can't do anything. It was pretty horrible, horrifying stuff to people who support Palestinians. And Jordan Peterson has been critical of Muslims and Christians before, but Jews, he has like a special spot in his heart for them. And specifically in regards to the Palestinian situation, he's like, oh, well, Jews have done great things with the occupied with the territories. And basically they deserve it. So he's getting criticized, I assume, for that, being what some people would call, what some conspiracy theorists would call a Zionist shill. People are giving him a hard time. And he is saying that he put out a poll that says, by failing to separate the anonymous, cowardly troll demons from real people in the comments section, YouTube and other SM platforms are enabling sadistic, Machiavellian psychopaths and narcissists by failing to separate the cowardly troll demons from real people in the comments section of YouTube. Because what do you guys have? Let me take a look at the names of my chat to see how many people are using their real name. There's Crypto Beast. There's Anonymity. There's Tetragrammaton Ghost. There's Easy there. T4T. And then there are a few people using their real names. Tangent Angela, at least part of that is a real name. Brian Ryan, 2 first names, must be fake. So people are anonymous on YouTube. People are anonymous because you can't say certain things without losing your job, basically. So it's cool when your thing is having Netanyahu on and stuff, and you have no problem getting booked for podcasts, and your life is okay. You got speaking tours and stuff. It's cool to use your real name. But when you're just some person with a job, you can't say anything, Like, there's stuff that's true. Like, basically, the one of the problems in the universe is there's stuff that's true that you can't say, or you can't work, pretty much. And that's fucked up. And that's why people are anonymous. And that's why he got ratioed on that poll he put out by people saying he's a jerk off. But he might quit social media. He's not being happy about the pushback. But that's what happens. Some people aren't that happy with. I assume that's what people aren't happy about. And that's why he's saying people are trolling him, anonymous trolls. All right, let me check my Buy Me a Coffees. Thanks, people who support the show. If you want to, you still have time. Go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil and leave a coffee, and I'll read what's on there now. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Rip the Veil. Got 3 coffees. Says LTV is the fucking GOAT. Thank you. That means the greatest of all time. Thanks, Jeff Dean, for the coffee. Thanks, Cymatic Earth, who says, thanks for being a trustworthy source. Your videos do great work bringing awareness to those in need. Oh, that's nice. Thanks. I have to make more videos, though. I have to make more videos. Thanks, someone who says, keep up the good work. Thanks, Kenny J, who got me 5 coffees and said, maybe this will encourage you to get the grass cut. So, Kenny J, if you're listening to this, thank you for the coffees. And it did encourage me to cut the grass. I made sure to do that today. Like, I didn't even eat lunch because I was trying to get stuff together for a show, but I did cut the grass today. And I still took Sumi to the park too. But there's other stuff that needs to be done that still needs to be done. I've got to figure out my time management and stuff. So anyway, that's what's going on. Oh, and let me check over on Rockfin. And you guys have settled the question that I was going to ask, because I was going to ask, do you prefer clickbait titles or do you prefer titles that are more descriptive? But I can tell fewer people are tuned in for this show than the shows with the clickbait titles. So in the future, just don't get mad at me. Okay. So the shows will just be like weird, funny names that basically don't mean anything. Cause that's what I noticed that people do. Like Tucker Carlson, they'll be like, you can't believe what they just did. Stuff like that. That's what you're going to get. Just because people click on it. It's not my fault. That's all I'm saying. It's not my fault. I'd like people to tune in. And you're going to tune in anyway, even if the title's stupid. So that's what I'm going to do. And it'll be one of them. One day it might be the earth is flat. I almost for a second today was going to go with that. Why the earth is flat. That was going to be the title of today's show, because I got to get flat earthers tuned in too, you know? But then you think what people use against you, and people would use that against me. But I would say it would be like performance art, you know, because I don't know. It's probably not really flat. It's probably something different, but I thought about it because people tune in for that stuff. The flat earth audience. There's the flat earth audience. There's the anti-Jewish audience. There's the racist audience. See, that's what Nick Fuentes and the other guys, that's what people don't realize about the grifting. Is like there's a grift where you're extra racist and anti-Jewish and stuff, and people give you money, more money. And there's the grift where you say the election was stolen. There's the grift where you say that you're a Trump supporter, even though it doesn't make sense that you like Trump. There are a lot of different grifts on the internet. I'll tell you about them. We'll try to identify them together. Kanye Ye is not a grifter. He's just going to run out of money. But the people around him are, you know, they know where their bread is buttered, basically. So what do you guys think? Informative? Enlightening? Delightful? You can also listen to this as a podcast by going to anywhere podcasts are. You can look for Lift the Veil, and I upload it after the show's over. If you want to join my mailing list, go to join lifttheveil.substack.com. One day I might write articles there again too, but the show goes out every day to your email if you subscribe to lifttheveil.substack.com. And then if anything ever happens, I can spam you. That's the advantage. I get your email address and I can mark it to you. So if you want to sign up for that, I can mark it to you. If you go to lifttheveil.substack.com. You know how to follow me on Twitter. And now I'm here on YouTube too. So thanks for being part of this crazy experience. So, and buy some t-shirts too. If you want, buy some crypto t-shirts. And if you want a bunch, contact me. I'll give you a great price. If you think you can sell them, I'll give you a great price. All right. All right. Thanks everybody. Good seeing you guys. and we'll see you at the next one. For now, that's what it is.